National Candy Day. I figured I'd do my demo with a bright and colorful picture of candy. I would say the Mike and Ike's would probably be my favorite on here. Okay, so color correction tools. These are going to be tools that more like professional photographers would certainly use. But when you guys take pictures, does anybody do you guys often take pictures like on your phone or on a point and shoot camera? Anybody take pictures at all? Phone?
Occasionally, but I haven't taken them for years.
Okay. When you do so, do you ever touch up your photos, like adjust the color and the brightness of them or anything like that? Blemish, yeah, blemish control, yeah. Cool. So a lot of what I'm going to show you today is involved in like apps. Even Facebook has like photo editing tools. If you do anything on Instagram, you have lots of different filters that you can apply, but you can also adjust the contrast and the brightness and all that kind of stuff on there. And so I'm going to show you kind of the basic color correction tools. And the way that you would get there, there's two ways. I'm going to show you the longer route first, and then I'll show you the shortcut. So image adjustments, and then, oops, sorry. This whole section here is all of our ways that we can adjust color and brightness and contrast to enhance our photos. And so I'm going to highlight a couple of them that I use often, and then I'll let you guys test them out. And if there's anything else on this list that you want to try out, you can certainly do that as well. So brightness and contrast. Brightness does just what you'd think the word would do. It's going to make that brighter. Contrast is all about the difference between light and dark. So when I have my contrast set high, we're going to get really, really light parts, like those highlights, and then really dark parts, like the shadows back in here, compared to when it's set more towards the middle and there's more of an even ground. Now, if I bring my contrast low, everything's going to kind of have that middle tone, not a whole lot of difference between the brights and the darks. So that's that one. I can also talk about curves. This is kind of about tones and contrast kind of all put together. And what happens is that you click on here and you make these points, and you can adjust these. And so what this is going to do, this is going to be like the highlight is in this area, the middle ground, and then the shadows, I believe is how this works. I'm not a huge one for this particular one. It's too complex for me. I like to keep things simple, but there are some cool things that you can do with that. And also up here there's custom presets, and so like color negative does some cool things. You can increase the contrast, and it'll just kind of automatically do that based on what you need. There's another negative one that looks kind of cool. Okay, exposure. This is related to like film photography. So when, back in the day when cameras used to use film, the way that photographers would create prints was based on how much light they would let through to expose the photograph. And so on here, so like the more light that you let through, the brighter that photograph would be. The less light, the darker that it would be. And so you can actually adjust your own exposure here. Vibrance and saturation, or vibrance, yeah. So vibrance is basically how bold those colors are. It doesn't do a whole lot unless you start to bring it down, which means that we're desaturating the colors. So if I go all the way down, I'm taking out all colors. I'm desaturating that picture. If I bring it way up, I'm making it really bright and bold. Okay, hue saturation. Here you're actually able to like change up some of the colors depending on where you place this slider. And then you can, again, adjust how saturated, so how bold those colors are, and you could bring it all the way down to make it black and white as well. So black and white is interesting because it'll make it black and white, but you can also add a tint to it. So if you wanted to create like just a purple photograph, you could do that. So you would turn it to black and white and then add a tint to it. Photo filters. Where'd they go? These ones also have some drop down. So like a cooling filter is going to make that look a little bit cooler than what it typically was. Warmer, that sort of thing. So you can play around with some of those things. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Invert is fun. When you think of something that you're inverting it, you're flipping the colors around. So you're going to, it's kind of like X-ray vision sort of, switches it with different colors. Now, oops, let me undo that. Posterize is something that's interesting too. This is going to take it and it's going to simplify it, almost making it seem very pixelated. You can adjust the levels that it has. So the more levels, the more it's going to look like the normal picture, but the further down you have it, it really simplifies those colors. This is almost making it look like it's screen printed as you get down there further.
Where's the gummy bears?
Yeah, right? Where is the gummy bears?
It looks so good.
Sour gummy bears are the best, or sour ones. Okay, I got a couple more I wanted to show you on this one, and it was gradient map. Now, depending on the colors that you have selected in your foreground and background colors, that's what it's automatically going to put for the gradient map. And so it'll basically replace all colors in your photo with the 2 colors. But have no fear, you can double click on there and you can create your own. And so I could click on any of these presets here. But if none of those involve the colors that I want, all I have to do is double click on that and I can adjust the color. I can add more of these by just clicking towards the bottom there. And move that around and it's going to adjust it all. So that is another way to change up the colors. And that's kind of all the ones I wanted to show you. Like I said, there's lots of more in there. So if you find something you're like, ooh, what does desaturate do? It takes away all the color. It makes it black and white. But test some of those things. Again, it's under image and then adjustments.